Good morning. It is a cloudy grey day out there with rain for many of us. There'll be some sleet and some snow over the hills as well. I'll have all your weather details throughout this morning's programme. Morning to you, Dan and Louise. I think it's a day for a bit of a soggy doggy walk out there today because we've got a lot of cloud around, and for many of us that cloud is going to be producing outbreaks of rain. So certainly a cloudy grey sort of day. There will be some sleet and some snow, mainly over the higher ground across parts of northern England and Scotland too. So we've already had that rain that's been moving its way in overnight. You can see it's just starting to turn to some snow across parts of southwest Scotland and across the Pennines as well. But for most of us it is falling as rain. Could well be some icy stretches this morning for parts of northern England and Scotland in particular as well. So this area of rain just tracks its way slowly eastwards through the day, bringing a bit of snow over the hills of Scotland, northern England too. Look at those temperatures, just 2 or 3 degrees in the northeast, 10 or 11 down towards the southwest. Now later on this afternoon, this is 5 o'clock, it will tend to dry up for the southwest of England. Still some showers further east, and some of that rain could be quite heavy for North Wales, northwest England, the Isle of Man, into Northern Ireland for a time too. Still further heavy rain later on today across much of Scotland, and it will be falling as snow across the higher ground. As we move through once again, it won't be quite as chilly as some recent nights. So for most of us, I think those temperatures just about staying above freezing. But again, some icy stretches around tomorrow morning. A drier day for Northern Ireland tomorrow, cloudy with outbreaks of rain for many of us once again. So it's staying unsettled through tomorrow, but things look a little bit drier and also a touch colder once again as we head towards Friday. Dan and Louise.
Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning to you, Louise and Dan. It is pretty chilly out there this morning for some eastern parts of the UK, so we've certainly got a frost around. Things are going to be turning milder for a time as we head through the course of today and tomorrow, and then colder again towards the end of the week. So it's a little bit up and down in terms of the weather over the next couple of days, but certainly for today we've all got to stay home as much as possible, and not a bad day for it because it's going to be cloudy, it's going to be grey, outbreaks of rain for many of us, and there's some sleet and some snow around today, but it's mainly across the hills of northern England and into Scotland as well. So it's a battle of the weather fronts. We've got that cold air still sitting in the east, a chilly start to the day, much milder air working in from the west, and where those two air masses meet, we've got a weather front which has already been producing rain. You can see over the past few hours it's been pouring in from the west. A little bit of sleet and snow starting to develop across the higher ground of northern England through the Pennines towards southwest Scotland as well. So there could be some icy stretches, some of that rain first thing falling on sub-zero surfaces. So some ice, certainly some frost. We have got that rain just pushing its way gradually further eastwards through the course of the day, but it's quite a slow moving feature. Northern and eastern Scotland staying dry for quite a good part of today, and there'll be some drier weather moving in from the southwest later on behind this band of rain, but for many of us we'll keep the patchy rain throughout the day. A real contrast in temperature, 10 or 11 degrees in that milder air in the west, but still cold, just 2 or 3 towards the likes of Newcastle and Edinburgh as well. It could come down to lower levels through the central belt, a couple of centimetres are possible. Most places just about staying above freezing, not quite as cold as some recent nights because we've got the cloud, we've got that milder air certainly moving in from the southwest. So into Thursday then, this slow moving weather front still with us. It's quite a stubborn feature. It's gradually going to be starting to ease away later on tomorrow, but for the bulk of the day, a lot of cloud, pretty similar to today in fact, outbreaks of rain, some of that rain quite heavy at times, and more snow to come across the higher ground of northern England and Scotland as well. You can see that starting to fizzle out later on in the day, so a slowly improving story later on. Again, a contrast in temperature, 3 or 4 in the northeast, 10 or 11 down towards the southwest. Now through tomorrow night, so Thursday night, eventually we're going to start to lose all the cloud, the rain and the hill snow that's going to be around for the next couple of days. So eventually things turning a little bit drier for a time with a ridge of high pressure. That's holding on into Friday, but then into the weekend you can see the next area of low pressure moving its way in from the Atlantic. So it is up and down as we head through the day. On Thursday there'll be more rain. Friday looks like a quieter day, colder, but then again into the weekend we welcome low pressure once again. So unsettled weather into the weekend, particularly wet I think and blustery on Saturday. A bit drier for most of us, but still quite windy during Sunday. Louise and Dan. Morning. It's a cold start to the day in the east, but we've got milder air and cloud moving in from the west. That's going to bring a lot of rain for many of us today and some snow over the higher ground in the north. I'll bring you more details in about 10 minutes. Good morning to you, Louise and Dan. Yes, the weather is looking pretty grey out there for most of us through the course of today. It's a chilly start in the east, but we've got cloud already moving in from the west, and that's going to bring milder air, a lot of rain for many of us as well, and some sleet and some snow, but that would be largely over the hills across parts of northern England and Scotland as well. So here's the radar from the past few hours. It shows that rain already moving in. It's quite heavy for parts of Northern Ireland. Some snow on the leading edge of that. So for the Pennines, the higher ground of Scotland as well, a bit of winteriness mixed in. There could be some ice around this morning, some of this rain falling on sub-zero surfaces. So some slippery surfaces, particularly in the north. Further south, things are turning milder, particularly down towards the southwest. So temperatures up to about 11 degrees for the likes of Plymouth, Edinburgh at only 2 degrees in that colder air. So this is 5 o'clock today. Most of the rain will have eased from the southwest of England. It stays quite cloudy. Further patchy rain for eastern England, quite heavy for Wales, the northwest of England, the Isle of Man into Northern Ireland as well. So there could be some flooding impacts out of all this slow-moving rainfall. That rain affecting the western half of Scotland, mild towards the southwest, but we could have some frost and also some ice around for Thursday morning for some of us as well. So Thursday will bring more outbreaks of rain, but they'll slowly ease through the course of the day, and then things are looking drier and turning colder again as we head towards Friday. Dan and Louise. Good morning to you, Dan and Louise. Well, something of a bit of an uninspiring sort of day today. We've got a lot of cloud around. It's a grey picture. Outbreaks of rain for many of us as well. That rain's going to be quite heavy at times. And there's going to be a little bit of sleet and snow, but it's going to be largely over the high ground of northern England and Scotland as well. So a bit of a battle of weather fronts. Mild air trying to push in from the west. Cold air just holding on towards the east at the moment. So with that cold air in place, we've got rain already moving in from the west. Could be some icy patches out there this morning, so some slippery surfaces. A little bit of sleet and snow already across the highest ground of the Pennines into the southwest of Scotland as well. But for most of us, it will be falling as rain, and there's going to be quite a lot of it out there today. Some heavy rain for parts of Northern Ireland into the northwest of England, stretching down towards the southeast as well. Northern and eastern Scotland avoiding the rain for quite a good part of the day, but you will see some of that sleet and snow developing over the highest ground as we head on into the afternoon. So there could be several centimetres of snow developing here. A contrast in temperature around about 10 or 11 degrees towards the southwest in that milder air. But for those of you across parts of northeast England and eastern Scotland, only about 2 or 3 degrees. So as we head through this evening and overnight, some of that rain will start to turn to snow more readily down to slightly lower levels. So it could be a little bit of snow through the central belt and again across the higher ground of northern England as well. Further south, it'll be falling as rain. So a cloudy start to your Thursday. Temperatures chilly in the north and the east, milder in the south and the west. We're going to see more cloud through the day on Thursday, again with outbreaks of rain and some hill snow, but most of us should see a drier but also a colder day by the time we get to Friday. Dan and Louise.
Thank you, Sarah.
Good morning to you, Louise and Dan. Yes, the sun is up now and our weather watchers are out capturing scenes like this one. Now, this is the picture in Stokesbury at the moment. We've got beautiful clear skies around in the east, but it is a cold start for eastern areas. More cloud that's rolling in from the west is going to bring milder air through the course of the day. It's going to bring more cloud for most of us, so it's going to turn fairly grey, outbreaks of heavy rain, and there'll be some sleet and some snow, but that will mainly be over the high ground of northern England into Scotland as well. So we've already had the rain that's been pushing its way in from the west. You can see the white colours here showing some of it just turning to sleet and snow over the highest ground of northern England and Scotland. We could well have some icy stretches, some of that rain falling onto sub-zero surfaces. So a bit of ice around this morning. Those clear skies in the east just holding on, particularly for the northeast of Scotland for quite a good part of the day. But elsewhere, a lot of cloud, outbreaks of rain drifting their way eastwards, and a real contrast in those temperatures today. It is going to be mild towards the southwest of England, of Scotland. The northeast of Scotland staying largely dry. But as we head on into the evening hours and overnight, some of this snow will start to come down to some slightly lower levels across Scotland into northern England as well. So there could be some settling snow, for instance, through the central belt as we head through into tomorrow morning. Further south, it will be falling as rain overnight, but it will be clearing away from Northern Ireland. So eventually things turning a little bit drier here. Now, through the day on Thursday, we've still got a lot of cloud, outbreaks of rain for many of us, which will tend to ease later in the day. And that sets us up for a drier but also a colder day by the time we get to Friday. Dan and Louise. Good morning to you, Louise and Dan. Yes, it's a cold start for some of us, particularly in the north and the east today. So we've got some icy stretches around, but a contrast further west because there's actually milder air working in there. And this is the picture in Nottinghamshire this morning. We've got a lot of cloud already. That cloud is pushing across the UK and it's going to be bringing some outbreaks of rain today for many of us. There's also some sleet and some snow in the forecast, but that will largely be over the highest ground of northern England and the high ground of Scotland as well. So this is where we've got the mild air. It's tracking its way in from the west, just still holding on to those blue colours, that cold air towards the east. So where those two air masses meet, a weather front is bringing outbreaks of rain. This is the radar from the past few hours. That rain's been quite heavy across parts of Northern Ireland. It's pushing into Wales, down towards the southeast of England as well. Some snow, you can see the white colours across the Pennines into the high ground of Scotland as well. And some icy stretches around this morning because even though it's falling as rain for some of us, it's falling onto quite cold surfaces. So there is a bit of ice around over the next couple of hours. A cloudy day ahead really out today and some dry weather working in from the southwest later on as well. But look at the contrast in temperature. We're looking at 11 degrees or so for South Wales and southwest England, but up towards eastern Scotland and northeast England, typically only about 2 or 3 degrees here. Into the evening hours and tonight, we stick with a lot of cloud and rain, some of that rain turning to snow, even down to some lower levels. So there could be a slight covering through parts of the central belt, for instance, as we head on into Thursday morning. So again, some slippery conditions, some iciness around, particularly in the north, where we've got the colder temperatures first thing Thursday. So through the day tomorrow, then, this weather front still with us. It's quite stubborn, quite slow moving. So it's just sitting across the UK, bringing more outbreaks of rain. It is going to eventually start to fizzle out towards the south, pushing that milder air away and colder conditions working in later in the day. So a cloudy grey picture tomorrow. It will brighten up for Northern Ireland and western fringes of Britain later on. Outbreaks of rain for most of us, but again some sleet and snow for the higher ground of northern England and into central Scotland as well. So it could be another few centimetres accumulating in places. Temperatures only about 2 or 3 degrees again towards the northeast where that cold air hangs on, but milder weather in the southwest. Eventually, as we head through Thursday night and into Friday, the cloud tends to dissipate, the rain and the hill snow will clear away. So a different picture into Friday, some frost, perhaps some fog patches first thing, but a drier interval with a ridge of high pressure. But heading into the weekend and the next area of low pressure comes in from the Atlantic, bringing some wet and fairly windy weather. So a quieter day on Friday, a little bit colder, wet and windy again by the time we get to Saturday, and then a bit fresher and drier once again into Sunday. So it's a little